who never fell in love. You're very judgmental." "What?" I sat up from my bed, searching for the strange voice in my room. "Who is there? Don't bother looking. You can't see me. Who are you then?" You can call me whatever you like. God, your holy self-consciousness, ruler of all, almighty Lord, or super awesome spirit. I'll call you Bob. So Bob, or crazy voice in my head, what do you want?" "I just want to play a game with you." "Game? No thanks. I'm not interested in playing games. I'm going back to sleep." "You don't have a choice but to play, my dear." I tried to lie back down on the comfortable California king bed, but the invisible force kept my body sit up straight. "What do you want, Bob?" I was annoyed. "Play the game." "What games?" "Falling in love." "Falling in love." I made a face. Kind of cheesy name for a game. "What do I get for playing?" I indulged the crazy voice in my head. "Nothing." "Nothing." I made another face. "Bob, I'm going back to sleep." I closed my eyes, not caring if I have to sleep sitting up. "Fine. What do you want?" "Money." "Hello," I said, after the silence stretched on for too long. "Still there, Bob?" "Fine. If you win, then I will award you money." "How will I know you'll keep your words?" "Check your bank account." I was confused but reached for my phone on the nightstand. It took a minute for me to log into my bank app, and sure enough, there was a deposit from BOB for $1 whole. "Cheapskate," I muttered. "You haven't won anything." "I'm not playing for $1. How much do you want to play for?" $1 million. "Hello, Bob." Again, the silence was deafening. "Greedy little thing, are you?" I only shrugged. I am pretty greedy. $100,000 for each game you win. Since you want 1 million, win 10 games. Deal. You haven't heard my end of the bargain. Fine. What is it? It's simple. You just have to get someone to fall in love you, devote himself to you, and care for you until the end of his days. If you can't find anyone to love you before the end of your life, then you owe me 100,000. What? Say that again. Off you go, my dear. I didn't even have time to give Bob a piece of my mind before the invisible force punched me in the gut, knocking me out cold. Ouch. That really hurts. No one said transmigration is pain-free. What? Did I die? Did you kill me? Temporary, yes. Temporarily. Pay attention, my dear. You only have one chance to obtain all the information you need for your first challenge toward falling in love. Falling in love, I mocked. Come on, Bob. Give me the information I need. I urged the unknown voice. Very well. The place I was transmigrated to is Xijiao, an old period similar to ancient Chinese time. The protagonist of the game is Liu Jiaying, the youngest of 3 daughters of the first-rank duke, left Minister of Justice. Despite being the daughter of a concubine, Liu Jiaying is very well favored by her father and family. Because of her innate beauty and musical talents in Guzheng, Liu Jiaying won the love of many, including the male lead, Zhuang Yi. And the male lead would not be the male lead if he wasn't some sort of royalty. Zhuang Yi is the 4th prince of the Sang dynasty. The prince was 4th born, but was tied in line for the throne with the eldest prince. Handsome, cultured, intelligent, and respected, Zhuang Yi was as princely as any prince could be. So how did Liu Jiaying met the great 4th prince? By some force of fate, the girl was able to meet the prince at a flower viewing festival. Liu Jiaying was very playful by nature, so often sneaks out of the house at a very young age to play. At the time, Liu Jiaying was dressed in her younger brother's clothing when she bumped into the prince, who also was disguised in commoner clothing. Because of her cheerful and bright personality, the prince immediately took notice. Naturally, as soon as her identity identity was known, the young prince begins to show affection for. It was no surprise when the two grew up as childhood sweetheart. The beautiful and cheerful female lead and her handsome, gentle prince, it was really so cliché. And in very cliché romance story, there are the obstacles the main character faces in order to be with the one he or she loves. In this story, there really was no obstacle. Even though Liu Jiaying's mother was a mere concubine, her father's rank is able to her the prince's consort title. Zhuang Yi's royal father, the emperor, gave them his blessing. The empress adored her. Most importantly, Zhuang Yi's heart already belonged to her. Her future was set the moment she won the male lead's heart. So what's the problem? No problems toward the main female lead. Liu Jiaying was blessed all her life, so was ignorant to the pain she left behind while walking toward her happiness. Lin Hing was one of those pitiful lives, ruined for the sake of love. As the only son of the prime minister, Lin Hing's stature was nothing less from Zhuang Yi. Prime Minister was the emperor's most trusted strategist and a well-respected figure in the four great nation of Xijiao. Taught personally by his father, Lin Hing brilliantly grew to become a fearsome war strategist. But even the greatest mastermind fall to the pit of hell because of love. Lin Hing was beside Zhuang Yi when they first met the young playful Liu Jiaying. Both young men had fallen in love with the cheerful girl, and both had wanted Liu Jiaying's love. Fate is never kind to the second male lead. Lin Hing was destined to suffer for love. Because he was the second male lead, an honest one to boot, he had stepped aside while his best friend married the woman he loves. On top of that, Lin Hing helped the two lovebirds whenever there were troubles. For Zhuang Yi, Lin Hing helped his succession to the throne, leading great generals and soldiers to war and battle in his friend's stead. For Liu Jiaying, Lin Hing had given his heart without ever expecting anything in return. Ultimately, he sacrificed his life when an evil, jealous villain tried to kill her. Who is this evil, jealous villain? Zhao Meixiang, the only child of the second-rank Viscount, is the so-called evil, jealous villain. Why? She was Lin Hing's prearranged fiancée. Just as beautiful as Liu Jiaying was, Zhao Meixiang was also loved by her family. Her father especially dotes on her because she was born from his beloved deceased first wife. Because of her father's favoritism, Zhao Meixiang grew up haughty and spoiled. In a period where a woman value rely heavily on her skills in art and music, Zhao Meixiang could not even draw a simple flower or play a single note on the guzheng. Despite that, her father's love for her did not diminish. In his eyes, she could do no wrong. Zhao Meixiang's biggest mistake was love. Her father had pulled strings to ensure her future husband was the finest of them all. Even when he managed to get her a great marriage partner, the spoiled Zhao Meixiang refused to meet her fiancé. By the time she finally met Lin Heng, the man was already deeply in love with Liu Jiaying. Ironically, it was love at first sight for Zhao Meixiang. The young Zhao Meixiang was brimming with happiness when she found out how wonderful and handsome her fiancé was. Happiness was cut short when she discovered Lin Heng's love for Liu Jiaying. Jealousy blinded her with hate. Love transformed her into a monster. She did everything to destroy Liu Jiaying, only to be hated by the one man she loves. In the end, she accidentally killed the Prime Minister's only son, resulting in 9 generations of her family to be demoted to slaves, while her and her father was sent to the guillotine. Tragic, isn't it? Bob, I called out Riley when my eyes opened to see a reflection of a beautiful young girl sitting in front of a vanity mirror. Yes, my dear. Who am I asked, even though the answer was the small birthmark under my right eye. The body I temporarily inhabit is Zhao Meixiang, who was born with a distinct, lovely pink flower birthmark crazy in love. But Lin Heng was beginning to fall in love with Liu Jiaying. I changed my mind. Take me back. I don't want to play this stupid game. Too late. My dear, the game has already begun. Wait. I could feel the voice fading in my head. I still have question. Good luck, Meixiang. Good luck. Stupid Bob. I still have questions. Why does it matter? I might as well get into character. The 14 years old Zhao Meixiang has been acting weird recently. Everyone in the province knew Zhao Meixiang was bratty, spoiled, and vulgar. The servants of the Zhao family knew their young mistress' poor behavior firsthand. So when the young girl came out of her room one day to browse the estate, everyone was stunned at how quiet she was. One hand holding a paper fan, the beautiful girl walked leisurely while her eyes took in the surroundings. When she gave a soft smile, flashing one of her deep dimples, the servants nearby nearly choke. Meixiang's smiles were usually condescending with an air that said, "You're beneath me." No matter how beautiful she was, no one would find a patronizing smile lovely. But for the first time, the people at the manor were transfixed by the sweet smile. The servants weren't the only one who took notice of Zhao Meixiang's change. Her father, the Viscount, took notice as well. When he questioned her if she was feeling sick or ill, Meixiang laughed and hugged her father's arm like the old Meixiang always do. For a father to receive such a sweet, pouting expression from his beloved daughter, he would not question her any further. If anything, he took it as another growing phase the child was going through. And so, since the Viscount didn't question Zhao Meixiang's sudden change, no one else dared to. "Daddy," Meixiang smiled as she took of her father's arm. "Meixiang will go with you to the capital. You want to go." The Viscount was surprised. The Viscount had tried for the past 2 years to get his daughter to go with him to the capital. For 3 months of the year, the Viscount has to be in the capital city to report to the imperial court for duty. During those 3 months, the Viscount asked his daughter to join him for 2 reasons. One, he wanted to take the opportunity to introduce her to the Lin family. Second, he wanted his beloved daughter at his side. What? Meixiang's small pink lips pouted. Daddy doesn't want Meixiang to go. Of course I do, my good daughter, so you'll join me this year." While the Viscount smiled and laughed, he missed the sly lift on his daughter's lips and the deep sparkles in her eyes. 5 days later, at the capital city, a handsome young man just past 16 years old stood quietly at the doorway of his bedroom. Leaning against the frame of the opened doors, the young man looked out at the connecting water garden. Before him was a calm and peaceful sight, but in his heart was filled with turmoil. A few days ago, his parents had let him know that Viscount Zhao and his daughter will be visiting them. Everyone in the country knew Zhao Meixiang was his betrothed. His father, the great prime minister, had personally asked the empress for the engagement. The emperor also gave his royal blessing. When Zhao Meixiang turns 18, she will be wedded into the Lin family. For any young man to marry a beautiful bride, he would feel blessed. For Lin Heng, he felt dejected. Ignoring all the rumors about Zhao Meixiang being spoiled, crude, and mean, Lin Heng just learned his heart was yearning for someone else. Even if that someone does not feel the same way for him, Lin Heng was still trying to move on from the adolescent feeling. In that moment, how could he think of anyone else? "Young master." A young servant stood nervously at the entrance while speaking carefully. "The Viscount has arrived." "One." Master and mistress is entertaining the Viscount in the main hall, and Lady Zhao in the plum garden. Plum garden. Lin Heng gave a bitter smile. Liu Jiaying had once told him that she did not like plum blossom because of how fragile it was. Instead, Liu Jiaying preferred the golden flower, the chrysanthemum, for its strength. "Young master." "Let's go then." small wood pavilion. The air was cold but gentle, so the young Zhao Meixiang did not mind sitting outside in the garden. With an elbow on the wooden table, her chin was propped on the back of her hand, while other hand was gently tapping on the table. Her eyes were closed with a quiet smile on her face, as if she was lost in a soundless song of the wind. That beautiful, quiet scene was how Lin Hing first saw Zhao Meixiang. It had startled him and the servants nearby. It was unlike what they had expected. Lin Hing never met Zhao Meixiang before, but heard enough stories about the girl to believe she was vulgar. But how could a vulgar person sit so gracefully, so peacefully, as if nothing in the world could touch or move her? Lin Hing stood frozen in place until Zhao Meixiang's eyes slowly opened. Her startling jewel-like eyes held an unknown depth that made him suddenly nervous, like she could see right through him. How was it possible? How could he be nervous toward a small girl? It was shocking, because he was never nervous toward anyone, not even his own father. "Hello." Meixiang cautiously stood in place. Her voice was light but clear. "Please do not be alarmed. I came with my father as a guest here," Meixiang explained, appearing hesitant. When her eyes looked back up at Lin Heng and found the man unresponsive, her eyes casted back down with more hesitation. "Pardon me." Meixiang nervously bowed and quickly turned to leave. "Wait." Because her back was turned, Lin Heng did not see the hidden gleam in her eyes as she rushed off. Then with perfect timing, Meixiang accidentally tripped over the long length of her dress and would have fallen to her face if a pair of strong arms didn't caught her in time. "Are you all right?" "Why, yes." Meixiang quickly stood and kept careful distance from Lin Heng. "Thank you." "No, it was I who startled you," Lin Heng said gently. "Lady Zhao Meixiang. You know me?" Meixiang looked up at the tall older boy. Her eyes widened with surprise. "Yes, you are." "Lin Heng." The tall boy cupped his fist and tilted his head slightly to greet her politely. It was strange for Lin Heng to greet Zhao Meixiang in such a formal manner. It was like he was greeting royalty or his elders and not a younger girl. Because of his action, Meixiang couldn't help but covered her lips to stop herself from laughing. "So sorry," Meixiang apologized when she saw the surprised look on Lin Heng's face. "I didn't mean to laugh. It's just Lin Gongzi does not have to greet this little Meixiang so formally." But since Lin Gongzi greet Meixiang so gracefully, she must return in kind. Meixiang then straightened her posture and gracefully placed her hands to the left side. With a slight bend of her knees, Meixiang bowed her head and returned the formal bow, like she was greeting royalty or her elders. Meixiang greets Lin Gongzi. After greeting the boy, Meixiang lifted her face to see the taller boy staring down at her in confusion. "You're not like what they say." Meixiang understood the older boy's comment. Instead of responding, she tilted her head to the side and looked back at him with confusion. Seeing her lost expression, Lin Heng only smiled. When Zhao Meixiang smiled back, the dejected feeling that Lin Heng previously felt suddenly went away unbeknownst to him.